Welcome to another episode of Meat Report. Once again, I have Cam Barton from K.L. Barton and Sons Ranch, and he brings a wealth of knowledge to Meat Report all about meat, particularly beef. And I have a question about two particular cuts. On one end of the spectrum, we have the filet, right? Sometimes referred to as the filet mignon. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the ribeye. Now, from what I understand, the filet is a very, very tender and lean cut of beef, whereas the ribeye is a fattier cut, maybe not as tender.
Yeah, I think you're right on it, Aaron. So a lot of it has to do with not just the structure of the animal, but the movement of the animal. And so the filet, the tenderloin, lays basically along the backbone of the animal. So it's not moving around a lot. So the rule of thumb in the cattle world is the closer to the head or the feet, the less tender the beef will be. So, when you think about the tenderloin and the ribeye area also, the ribeye it's pretty lightly used as well. So, but it's less tender than the tenderloin. But so you'll see a little more fat around the ribeye area, and so the ribeye area is also where the animal is graded at between the 12th and 13th rib. The ribeyes come from the 6th and 12th ribs of the animal, and both the tenderloin fillet and the ribeye are pretty tender cuts.
Can you guess if I'm a filet mignon guy or a ribeye guy?
I'm going to go with a filet mignon.
You're wrong.
Ah, man.
Now, let me tell you why, okay? I've had filet mignon before. Yes, it's very tender, but the lack of fat, I feel, causes it to lack in flavor, which is why I like the ribeye, because the fat seems to offer more flavor.
That's a very valid point. I think you hit the nail on the head because, like you said earlier, the filet is more lean, and the ribeye having that fat, especially when you start to cook it, that fat renders down and breaks down inside the meat. So I believe it does add a lot of those juicy flavors.
What is the best way to cook a filet mignon? If someone like me, is going to get the best enjoyment out of the filet mignon, due to the things about it that I'm not too keen on, what would be the best way to prepare a filet mignon so that I would like it?
I'm going to go very detailed on this one from my experience. It's put the grill on 450 for about 4 minutes per side. I like a medium rare filet, so that's usually pretty much all you need with a filet. I don't think you really want to overcook it because that's kind of defeats the purpose. But
I eat all my steaks medium rare anyway. So is it frowned upon to season a filet mignon just to add the flavor for people like me that don't have that fat flavor, or is that frowned upon to over season a filet mignon?
So a little story behind that. There is a business owner out there that he got in the beef business, and the way he would hire people was he would bring them to dinner to his restaurant and he'd order them a steak, and he would see who immediately, used steak sauce or some sort of salt and pepper or whatever. He was just a salt and pepper guy, but long story short, he would try to determine, okay, they're assuming that the steak's not to their liking when it comes out on their plate. Most places I go and people I know I would say it's frowned upon. We hope that we are, producing a steak that just takes some salt and pepper, right? I mean, but
yeah,
I'm not going to judge you on what you want on your steak. So
what would this guy do if he took them to a restaurant and they ordered a filet mignon and asked for ketchup?
You're out. You're out. That was really the story, and it was a guy in Texas. So,
well, we'll leave it there for this episode. Thanks again for joining us, Cam. To all of you watching Meat Report, we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Aaron.